A boy witnessed something completely unbelievable while shooting hoops. Out on the court, a man who had been burned alive was walking directly toward him. The moment the ball sailed cleanly through the net, the figure lunged straight at him. The boy didn't pause for a second to celebrate the championship victory with his teammates. He ran alone back to the locker room, frantically worked open his locker, and retrieved the notorious cursed relic inside. As the figure's footsteps grew closer and closer, the boy shattered the relic into fragments in a panic. He shouted, "See, I destroyed it. Just leave me alone." The footsteps disappeared in an instant, replaced by his celebrating teammates bursting through the door. The boy smiled to himself in the shower. What he didn't realize was that, a moment later, he heard the sound of charred ash dropping. He turned around, only to discover the figure standing directly behind him. It wrapped a hand around his throat and forced its other hand down his mouth. In the blink of an eye, the bathroom exploded into flames. Within moments, the boy's whole body was consumed by violent fire. Shortly after the boy's death, our female lead, Lisa, transfers to the school, and by pure coincidence is assigned the deceased boy's old locker. She unknowingly takes possession of the relic, which contains a whistle inside. She has a history class that same day, so she brings the whistle along to show her history teacher. The teacher tells her it resembles a musical instrument, or possibly a whistle. Based on certain carvings, he says it is most likely an early Mayan artifact, and the ancient text on it may have been used to summon the dead. At this, Lisa reaches to take the whistle back, but the teacher snatches it from her hand. "Since you found this in a school locker, it's school property. It should be handed to a teacher for safekeeping." With him framing it that way, Lisa has no real grounds to argue. The teacher immediately searches the selling price of comparable artifacts online, intending to sell it for a large profit. But out of curiosity, he gets a reckless idea and blows into it. Little does he know, that single breath will cost him his life. Meanwhile, Lisa's cousin realizes he left his magazine in the classroom and slips back in while the teacher is in the bathroom. While the cousin takes out the whistle to show off to his classmates. A girl named Hannah, out of curiosity, blows into it as well. Everyone present hears an otherworldly shriek and freezes in place with fear. But when nothing further happens after a long pause, they all dismiss it. The following day, back at school, the principal holds an assembly for the entire student body. Everyone falls silent, listening attentively to the principal's address. But Luna sees something no one else can. When she snaps back to reality, the woman in the green hoodie who had been standing in front of her has disappeared. The cousin says, "If you don't want this thing, you can return it to Mason's family." Mason, of course, is the boy who burned to death at the beginning of the story. A frightened Luna immediately agrees, saying, "I know where his family lives. I'll drive you there." After school, the two head off to Mason's house. The home is filled with antiques Mason's grandmother brought back from her travels abroad, and she now lives there on her own. Lisa takes out the whistle and asks whether it's part of her collection, explaining she found it in Mason's locker. But the old woman has this to say: "This artifact claimed the lives of her daughter and her grandson, and it will claim many more in the future. Its name is Yinkaka. It was a treasure stolen from a conquered and oppressed people." The old woman tells them, "From the moment you are born, death is looking for you. If you are meant to die at 90, that is when death will come for you. But if you hear this whistle, everything changes. Yinkaka will lead death straight to you, long before your time." With that, the old woman places the whistle back into Lisa's hands. The two leave the house, uncertain whether to believe what they've just heard. Luna noticed all the prescription bottles in the house and suspects the old woman is not mentally well, that her ramblings are simply the words of someone confused and delusional. But Lisa can't shake her unease. She says, "Do you think the history teacher blew that whistle last night?" Luna says, "Maybe. If you want to look into it further, I can take you to the hospital where I work part-time. They'll have Mason and the history teacher's autopsy reports there." That night, the two sneak into the hospital's records room under the cover of darkness and pull out Mason's autopsy report. Since he burned to death in the shower, police ruled his death an accident caused by a gas leak. A dental report catches Lisa's eye. It states the dental remains belong to a person nearly 50 years old. But Mason was a 17-year-old high school student. How could he have been 50 when he died? They rush straight to the amusement park, desperate to save Hannah, who blew the whistle the night before. Right now, Hannah is inside a maze at the park. She notices a wrinkled old woman is pursuing only her, and no one around her seems able to see the figure. Hannah frantically calls her boyfriend for help, but he says it's a Halloween-themed amusement park. Isn't it normal for a character to chase you? With no other option, Hannah grabs a shovel to defend herself, but the instant the shovel connects with the woman's head, Hannah feels a violent blow to her own head, and both of them drop to the ground. The monster climbs back to its feet. Hannah can only run, shrieking at the top of her lungs. When her boyfriend hears her screams through the phone, he finally understands she is in genuine danger. Hannah hides in a narrow passageway, but the monster crawls in right behind her. Unable to crawl fast enough, Hannah is stabbed in the calf by the monster. The moment the monster makes contact, her skin begins to age at a rapid rate. Acting on instinct, she uses every last bit of strength to break free and manages to crawl to the center of the maze, where a service bell hangs. Hannah intends to ring the bell for help. Lisa fills John and the cousin in on what they've learned, but John refuses to accept any talk of a curse. Hannah's only 17, he says. That was just an old woman in the maze. She's probably left the park by now. I'm going home to wait for her. Meanwhile, Lisa and the others return to Mason's grandmother, pleading with her to tell her how to break the curse. The old woman says, there is only one way, to pass the curse on to someone else. The moment your own death comes for you, you must smear your blood on another person. As she says this, Lisa catches sight of death in the mirror. She sees that she dies young, at exactly the age she is now, with a needle in her arm. She realizes she is fated to die of a drug overdose. After hearing the old woman's words, the cousin decides to pass his curse on to someone else. That Luna is opposed to the idea, immediately drives off, and soon locates his target, a man he despises with every part of his being. This man sells drugs to young people, and in the cousin's eyes, he's no better than a killer. He ties the man up in an abandoned factory, then slices his own palm, ready to smear his blood on the man the moment death arrives. But the two girls arrive just in time and manage to talk him down. Lisa suddenly seems to have figured out a way to break the curse, but before she can explain it, the cousin senses death's arrival. His premonition proved accurate. His future self dies after falling into an industrial mixer, and Lisa can only watch helplessly as the cousin is torn apart right in front of her, out of thin air. Now, Lisa makes a decision. She won't let death find any of them more. The plan she's come up with is straightforward. Enter a near-death state on purpose, then be revived. Simply put, it's a race against death. Die once before he comes for you, and you break the curse. As luck would have it, Luna has a supply of drugs she took from a hospital in her car, perfect for the task. The two then take shelter in an abandoned workshop next door, where they also find a defibrillator. Without hesitation, Luna injects the drugs into Lisa, then lowers her into an ice bath. Once Lisa's heart stops, Luna pulls her out to resuscitate her right away. But in her near-death state, Lisa encounters death and becomes trapped battling him in a hallucination. Luna grabs the defibrillator, only to discover its battery is dead. She sets it aside to charge and begins performing CPR instead. Meanwhile, the man the cousin knocked out regains consciousness. The cousin had forced 2 pills down his throat earlier, so he is now disoriented and furious. He seizes a hammer and charges towards the workshop, determined to break his way in. In this critical moment, not only does Luna fail to revive Lisa, her own death arrives for her too. To make matters worse, the man destroys the defibrillator beyond repair, and Luna is stabbed in the stomach by death. She must keep trying to save Lisa. Disoriented, he accidentally brushes against Luna's blood, smearing it onto himself. The curse transfers to him. The moment he raises a gun to shoot Lisa and Luna, his own death arrives, the version of him that drowns in middle age. Terrified, the man fires multiple shots at death, but every single bullet strikes his own body. Make sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more videos like